there, I'm Amy.Connell. Welcome to Graced Health, the podcast for women who want simple and grace-filled ways to take care of themselves and enjoy a little chocolate. I'm a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach who wants you to know your eating, movement, and body don't have to be perfect. You just need to be able to do what you're called to do. Throughout the month of December, I'm doing something a little different. I am spending time over on Instagram going live with 8 honorable mentions as an addendum to my book, Your Worthy Body. So if you have been with me for a while, you know that I just released a book called Your Worthy Body, Find Freedom and Health by Breaking All the Rules in November. And in it, it has 22 rules to break. These are rules we've possibly and probably heard about our health that oftentimes don't necessarily motivate us or inspire us in the way that they are intended to. And in fact, they can create shame surrounding our health. And so I am trying to break this mindset, change our mindset about our body, our food, our movement, how they all work together. I'm offering these addendums live on Instagram, but then I wanted to take them and give them to you because I know some of my community, and this may include you, only connect here through your ears, through podcasts. And I know that because that's how I am with a lot of the people I like to connect with. I don't necessarily go back and forth on Instagram or Facebook or certainly not Twitter. I'm hardly ever over there, but I love connecting on the podcast. So I am doing what I call being kind to my future self. And I wanted to continue showing up in December. And I'm also wanting to ease up a little bit in my own responsibilities and my output. So for the month of December, I am taking these Instagram lives and replaying them here on the podcast. Of course, if you have not gotten your copy of Your Worthy Body, then I have a link in the show notes below. You can certainly go get that. And let me tell you, get one for your sisters, get one for your Bible study friends, get one for your book club friends, get one for the girls you go out to dinner with, because this is who it is for. It is for the sisterhood of women who are ready to change their mindset. Okay, let's jump in. Hi, everybody. Okay, I am so excited to talk about today's topic of an additional rule to break. So if you have been with me for the last couple of weeks, you know that I am taking some honorable mentions of rules that did not make it into the book. So the book has all of these different health rules to break, and not everything made it in there because I just couldn't do more than 292 pages. I guess I could have. But what I wanted to talk about today was a concept that I have in I kind of talk about it a little in the book, and I thought I would read an excerpt. So this is actually my little author copy of Your Worthy Body. And this is from the chapter, Walking Isn't a Real Workout. Now, we're not going to talk about that today. Walking, by the way, is a real workout. Remember, that's a rule to break. But I wanted to read a little and then dig into this. So I start off by talking about how my husband and I are having a conversation about walking, and he's needing to change some things up because he has an injury. And I say, well, what about walking? And he says, sure, I'll walk, but what's this doing for me anyway? Now I'm reading. I'm just going to read one paragraph. Again, keep in mind he's a dude. His goals are different. Let's be honest. While women are generally trained to take up as little space as possible, men are trained to take up as much space as possible. In the words of my kids, they want to get jacked. If you want proof, talk to any teen boy about what muscle group he focuses on. Chest and biceps, or biceps and chest. They want as much mass in those areas as possible. While it's easy for me to dismiss my husband's desire to remain defined, I have to understand this desire has been conditioned in him almost as long as I've been wanting six-pack abs. Walking, unfortunately, doesn't do much for the chest and biceps. And then I'll go on and you can read more in the book. But I wanted to dig into this concept that many of us, and I am 100% leading the charge in this, but we have been trained to take up as little space as possible. And what I mean by that is basically have the smallest body that we can. Now, one thing I'm loving is this awareness of health at any size. If you listen to my episode with Dr. Lisa Folden here on Instagram, she is also known as Healthy Fit, PHIT. So she's a fantastic one to follow. But we talk a lot about how you can have health at every size. And I also would love, if you're interested in just kind of digging into this some more, Coach Gretchen Myers here on Instagram as well has spent a lot of time talking recently about thin privilege. As she moved from Michigan to Seattle, she just had these different little experiences of her and her smaller body and how that compared to someone who might be in a larger body size. So one of the things I also want to talk about, I want to give you just 4 things to consider when we start thinking about and getting in our head that we have to take up as little space as possible. So the first thing is we have natural set points. And in fact, I am on the fly going to pull up, I give a definition of a set point in chapter 4, which is she has the perfect body. And in a set point, hold on, let me find it. This is what happens when you don't fully, I was going to try and get the full definition. But basically, it's a theory that we are all naturally inclined to be at a particular weight within, 15, 20 pounds or something like that. And that our body will gravitate to a particular spot regardless of what we do. So we might be able to take it out of there and we might be able to take up less space, or it might be that we maybe eat more than what our body needs and we start to take up more space. But if we are just eating what we need and moving in a way that brings us joy and moving our body, because that is important to our overall health, then we will kind of have a set point. I know I'm at my set point. I have basically been the same size my entire adult life. Does that mean I'm the same weight as when I got married at baby age 22? No, but I am about the same size, right? Like I'm more than twice my age. I've had 2 kids, like that's fine, whatever. So keep in mind there, this whole concept of taking up as little space as possible may not be congruent with a particular person's set point. They may just have a larger body, and that's okay. They can still be healthy. The other thing I want you to think about is this concept that when we are smaller, that means we are more worthy of whatever, right? Unfortunately, a lot of us have this concept of like, oh, well, if she's larger, then she must not be exercising. No. Or if she's larger, then all she does is eat cookies all day. No, that's not the point. That's not true. Just like we just talked about with their set point, that just might be where their body naturally goes. And I am really challenging all of us, and there's a lot of really great people out there who are doing the same thing, to step away from this, oh, well, she is better if she takes up less space, because that is not the case. And quite honestly, let's be real here. I have had periods of my life when I have dipped down my body, and I've kind of taken my body weight lower than my set point. And you know what? I still had bad days. I still, got frustrated. I still had problems with friendships and relationships. I still had all of the same things that people will have regardless of their body size. So just because you're in a smaller body doesn't mean that you are more worthy of things, or that you are more worthy of wearing the gym clothes or going to the gym or moving or anything like that. The other thing I want to consider is the words that have been spoken over us. And I talk about this some, I think it was in chapter 3 in the book, in my book. Unfortunately, some of us have grown up with words that were said about us. Maybe it's, oh, she's too much, or she has too much energy, not enough energy, too big, too small, too tall, too short. And it's just, there have been words that have been said about us. And as we are in these holidays, I want you to be aware of those words, because those words that you may have heard may not hold truth, and they probably don't. The words that have been spoken over us as we've grown up, and maybe it was just in our time at home and we've been out of the home for a long time, those don't need to translate to your size and how you feel about your size, and that you need to take up less space. And I hope that makes sense, but it's something that I think is really easy to get that noise in our head about, oh gosh, well, my family member won't be giving me a hard time if I was smaller or something like that. And by the way, if that's the case for you, I'm so sorry. Like, I am really, really sorry. And, that's a whole nother tangent, but it might be worth, getting the help of a counselor, getting the help of a therapist to kind of work through that, because those stories, as I've talked about with Emily Baker in my, as a bonus episode in my podcast, like those will change the trajectory of our own relationships, of our thought processes, of our body and how it responds to us. So anyway, sorry, I'm getting off on a little tangent about that. But again, this whole concept of taking up as little space as possible, maybe because of the words that were spoken over us as we were growing up. So those are just a few things that I want you to consider as we, as we finish out this year and go into another one. It may be that you have been eating more than your body needs, and it might require a reset at whenever that is. We talked earlier about, like, please don't wait, like, don't go crazy at the beginning of the year, but that's fine. Get yourself back to that set point and be comfortable with that unique design of how God made you. And it might be, who knows? It might be that, it's one size, and it might be that it's the other size, but it certainly does not need to be dictated by how much size you take up, because as we talk about with every episode that I do, you take care of your body so you can do what you're called to do, not so it will look a certain way. Okay, that is all for today. If you are interested in the book, you can grab that in the link in my bio, and go out there and have a graced day.